Hi, I'm Jimmy Quaile, Certified Sommelier and author of Tales from the Wine Floor, 100 Questions Asked of a Sommelier. Today we're going to talk about pairing wines with Thanksgiving. Now everybody thinks immediately, what wine pairs perfectly with turkey? That doesn't apply here because nobody eats just the turkey. You have to look at the entire plate. Think of all the sweetness that's there, whether it's sweet potatoes or cranberries or even coleslaw, there's some sweetness there. So to pair one wine with all that's on that plate is really hard to do. I do have an idea though, and we're going to start with bubbles. Now when people think bubbles, they immediately think champagne. Fair enough, but not everybody has the budget for real champagne. Real champagne has to come from the Champagne region of France, and they can get a little bit expensive. Maybe a better bet would be Prosecco from Italy. Great value there. Still bubbly, but not made in the same way, so it's not really comparable, but it still bubbles and it works, and it's America's favorite sparkling wine. Another idea is a cava from Spain, made method champenois, meaning the second fermentation happened in the bottle, but they use Spanish grapes rather than French grapes. So again, not the same as champagne. Whatever your budget is, bubbles to start your day is a good idea. In fact, it's not a bad idea to go through the whole dinner, but let's start there and let's move on to what would be perfect with chips and dips. Now, rosé is funny because people only think of rosé during the summer, but it really is a year-round thing, or it should be at least. Rosés can be dry or sweet, so you have to be careful. Now, if you're thinking pink Moscato, that is not what I'm talking about. That is not the rosé I'm talking about. Maybe a Côte de Provence has a little bit of sweetness, or maybe you can get a rosé of any grape that you want. You can get a rosé from a Sangiovese grape from Italy. You can get a grape from rosé from Pinot Noir. The rosé has to be made from a certain grape. Côte de Provence is a good idea. That's the region because of the sweetness, and it'll match a whole lot of things, especially with chips and dips. So after the rosé, let's think of whites. So let's come further this way. Now we're in whites. This is perfect for the vegan. Sauvignon Blanc is the wine for vegetables. Very few wines really pair with it, but Sauvignon Blanc is a really good idea. So this would be my next choice. Think of them in the same vein for your Thanksgiving dinner, and then let's go to the entree, the big deal, the big course for Thanksgiving. I think the perfect wine for Thanksgiving is Pinot Noir. Then again, I think Pinot Noir is the perfect wine with every dinner, but Thanksgiving especially because it has mainly red fruit notes in it. So you're thinking cherry and raspberry and strawberry, and they do go really well with the turkey. And it has just enough fruit, although it's not sweet, there's enough fruit there that matches everything that's on the plate. The next idea is a blend. We're going to get a little geeky on this next section. I hate to recommend a French wine for such an American holiday, but Beaujolais is such a great choice. Not Beaujolais Nouveau. Now years ago, Beaujolais Nouveau got real popular, and it was supposed to be drunk between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It has a totally different profile than real Beaujolais. Real Beaujolais, meaning Beaujolais or Beaujolais Village, think of that, is very Pinot Noir-like, but it has a little bit more interest to my palate. And it was one of the first wines that I truly loved. And you can find a bunch of different Beaujolais. For now, though, stay away from Beaujolais Nouveau and look for Beaujolais-Villages, Village. And that's a great choice. Another one is a Côte de Rhône. A Côte de Rhône is a blend mainly of Syrah and Grenache. They're all such a great value. A Côte de Rhône would be a great choice too. This is a good time to tell you that you should drink what you like. If you wanted to drink Red Bull with your turkey dinner, absolutely. Now, a lot of times people have preferences based on tradition. I understand that also. My mom used to like Harvey's Bristol Cream, and I always start a Thanksgiving dinner with Harvey's Bristol Cream. So these rules apply if you want to try them. They're classic pairings. Let's move on to the white. The classic pairing for Thanksgiving dinner to a lot of geeky, pretentious somms is Riesling. Now Riesling has a whole lot of different styles. So you have to do a little bit of homework to find out which one you're picking up, no matter where it's from. Mainly from Germany, from the Mosel region, but they can be from dry, bone dry, to really sweet. You literally could take your entire Thanksgiving dinner using different styles of Riesling, which sounds kind of interesting. So try Riesling if you like a little bit of sweetness, a little more sweetness than most of you like Moscato, but it's overly sweet for the whole meal. A Riesling is a good choice. So try Riesling, and then let's move on to the next one. All right, we're ending with a wine with dessert. You might not think of adding a wine to your dessert, but if it has nuts and fruit, think of a tawny port. It's like liquid pecan pie, it's so delicious. If you're thinking chocolate, ruby port would be perfect. If you wanted to go a high-end dessert wine, I salute that you have the money to do that. Most people, though, we're thinking of the entire day, and maybe that's a little bit too expensive, but think port, tawny port or ruby port, and the meal perfect. One last thought, you can always go back to where you started and go back to champagne. Bubbles always works. So I hope that you have a great Thanksgiving. I hope that some of this helps. And I could have literally read the section that said, what do I pair for my Thanksgiving dinner? It is in the book. And I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you're grateful for everything that you have. I know that I am. Happy Thanksgiving.